Good morning. Welcome to the starting lineup at 10:30 every single Saturday morning from 10:30 11 o'clock. I'm Tony Curry along with my trusty little sidekick does fantastic work, the Birmingham Racecourse Executive Director Keefer, and we have Sam Ramsey, a special guest, going to join us here in just a few minutes. Lots of sports to get into. We have not one but two leagues going through their conference finals, and now the championships in both the NHL and the NBA. And we got this thing called the Belmont going on this weekend as well.
Oh, yeah, the third jewel of the not Triple Crown this year, since the decision was made for Sovereignty not to run in the Preakness. But this is going to be still a very exciting event this afternoon. It's at Saratoga. I got my Saratoga shirt on here, Tony, today, so I'm representing. I've been privileged enough to go to the races up there a couple times. It's fabulous. Belmont's still under construction, so the Saratoga Racecourse will be the host of the Belmont Stakes today, and it's the rematch. It's Journalism and Sovereignty, the two winners of the Preakness and the Kentucky Derby, respectively. They're going head-to-head today against six others. It's going to be an exciting race.
Now, I love horse racing. I lived in Louisville for 3 years. A chance that I get to work with a guy who knows more horse racing than anything that you've ever known. You're fantastic. You're a great handicapper, too. You've had the race winners, the first two jewels in the crown, if you will. Now, we're not going to be at Belmont. We'll be at Saratoga. So my first question is, first of all, this is always the longest race. It will not be the longest race. It's not going to be a mile and a half.
Same distance as the Derby, a mile and a quarter.
A mile and a quarter. So how does that play in for both of the horses that we've already seen this show?
Yeah, it plays big time because I think at a traditional distance like this, it puts journalism a lot more in the game. Although you could say, well, Sovereignty ran him down in the first match,
but it was
at
muddy.
A mile and
it was
a quarter.
muddy. It was muddy.
So it really kind of levels the playing field. If this was a mile and a half, you would have to like Sovereignty, who's a true closer, a true horse that is really going to run his best in the very end parts of the race. Journalism, more of a middle mover, has a little bit more tactical speed. So this should really set the stage for a dramatic battle between what is clearly the two best horses in the country.
Question to you, is there a reason to run any other horse? Is it just a two-horse race? Or can you give me a third that perhaps can pull out a win here?
Give
us a winner, baby.
Yeah, well, Baeza's the other one to keep an eye on, or Rodriguez for Bob Baffert, who is a horse that runs on the front and looks like the more he's in controlling the pace and the other horses, he seems to get emboldened and run even better. So the question is, can he go a whole mile and a quarter on the lead? There are some horses to look at, and I've watched too many horses, Tony. Everybody in the world's going to bet these two horses to run 1-2. I've seen it too many times. You almost saw it in the Preakness. Journalism got into terrible trouble, was very fortunate to get away from all that inside traffic and make his stretch drive. That's the kind of thing that can happen. You can't, they're not robots. You can't just say it's going to be it's these two and nobody else, because there's some other really good horses in here.
And you will get absolutely no payback on an exacta with these two horses running side by side. So
now that's the thing. From a value standpoint, you look at other directions. Sam's grandpa, Monty Ballard's going to be with us here in a few minutes. We're going to give you our picks on the race today and how to play it, so that's coming up.
Speaking of run the horses, there's this team called the Pacers, and they get a pretty good pace. They run up and down basketball courts, along with OKC and the Thunder. NBA playoffs. If you like running and gunning, lots of shooting, over-unders, 230, 235, this is your series, man.
Yeah, this is going to be a great series all the way through, and of course we're up to game 2 today, so we'll see how that comes out. Down in Oklahoma City. I think it's funny. I think I mentioned a couple weeks ago, the NBA executives and the TV people have to be going, what do we do to deserve this? They're two great young teams, but it's the 25th and the 45th largest television markets in the country in this finals, which is amazing when you consider out of the top 25 markets, the NBA has franchises in 19 of those cities. But none of those teams are in the finals. It's Oklahoma City and Indiana. Unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. OKC is the youngest team in the NBA. Indiana is the second youngest team in the NBA. You got them playing for a championship. 110 points, really, really important when you watch that, because when OKC gives up 110 points, they don't lose. But when Indiana scores 110 points, they don't lose. So something's got to give at that 110 point. When you see that 110 point part, look at that number and something will give. It's going to be pretty amazing. And then we go to the ice, watched the first game a few days ago. It looked like Florida had their number. Edmonton gets out, gets it in the biscuit really quick. They get a 1-0 lead. Next thing you know, Florida just goes on. They're scoring. It's 2-1 after the first period. And I thought that game was all Florida's, and Edmonton pulls out the win in game 1, and that series is going to be a tight one.
Yeah, it's the same two teams who were in the finals last year that went 7 games. I think might as well buckle in because I think it's going to be a 7-game series again.
All right, Sam Ramsey, never too early to talk about college football, baby.
All.
Professional football, we got to hear, Sam. We hear you are the, first of all, you have a birthday coming up?
Yeah.
And you will turn
13 in June 13th.
All right.
All right.
And if my Lila
Hey, I'm a
Jane-
13 guy in October, so I like those 13 guys.
Lila Jane, my daughter, if she's watching the show, he's already got himself a girlfriend. So don't even be looking at this kid. My daughter's hitting on all these boys. So we do have college football. I saw over/under on wins for teams. This is the first time in 7 years that Alabama's over/under win is actually below 10. Will Alabama, the Crimson Tide, win more than 10 games this year?
We're going to win 12.
Oh, man, you're going to win them all.
Going on, not even 11. He's going out on it. Look at Legend back there getting all excited. You got to get in the Legend cave. He's going to kill you. He's going to love that.
Yeah.
All right, great. And the Auburn Tigers on the other side of the street.
Oh, yeah. I would be willing to bet my life savings on the under. They say every year that they're going to win above 8 games. They're going to have another losing season, and it's.
Now, is this because you don't like the Auburn Tigers?
No,
or
no.
because you actually know some research?
No, I've just watched football for long enough to know that.
Which means Hugh Freeze will be looking for a job in 2026.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, I think Sam's onto something because, they asked Hugh Freeze the other day what his expectation was. He goes, well, we just need to make a bowl game. Gee, Hugh, way to set the bar high. That means you need to go 6-6.
That's reminiscent of a guy who's running for governor right now, the Tommy Tuberville years. He was always good for 9.3 wins, but that was it. He couldn't get over 9.3 wins. It's the way it was every single year. Okay, real quick on the UAB Blazers. Trent Dill for his 3rd season. They gave him the vote of confidence. We know what that usually means. Win or you're out. You got to get to a playoff or at least a play-in game, if you will, when it comes to bowl games. UAB, they're going to get a bowl game this year?
Yeah, I think they will.
Okay, good. All right, there you go. He's got the smarts. Kid's a smart kid.
Well, we're going to get Sam in the Legend Cave with the ultimate Alabama fan, and it sounds like we're going to have a real Tide segment coming up here, so buckle up for that.
All right, so some other teams you're looking at. Texas, obviously really good. Ohio State got it done.
They play each other the first week, as a matter of fact.
Each other. Penn State's going to be good again this year. Georgia Bulldogs always good. Give me a couple dark horses we should be looking for.
I really think that BYU will be pretty good this year.
All right.
I like that. You've been talking to Case Keefer. You got a futures bet on the BYU Cougars, do you? No. It's the first time we've had a 13-year-old say, I bet evering I've got.
That's right.
Starting
His life savings.
His life savings, which I'm not sure.
Tony does that every weekend.
I bet you have more life savings than I do. I got news for you. Don't start gambling early, my son. Don't be doing that. I'm going to start.
Just to whet everybody's appetite, we'll be on with you, of course, Saturday morning, August 30th, followed by Syracuse at Tennessee, and at 2:30 on that day, Alabama at Florida State, right here on ABC 3340 after the starting lineup, which we will get you ready for football every single week.
Yeah, we got some really special things, including a really nice giveaway that we're going to be doing later on this football season. So not only are we going to be #1 here locally on ABC 3340 when it comes to the local feel of sports, we certainly talk national stuff too, but this is Birmingham's such a great market for college football. But we'll have some nice giveaways and stuff to be given away as well, so we're looking forward to that. It's going to be a great college football season this year, so we're looking forward to it. Starting lineup, the Legends coming up. We're going to head out to the desert. Case Keefer from his picks from, of course, Las Vegas Sun and more on the way in the starting lineup.
The Birmingham Racecourse Casino turns dreams into reality. Like Roger M., who just won over $51,000. And Rebecca, celebrating a life-changing jackpot of $160,000. You could be the next to dance the Icky Shuffle with a big win.
Woo! I'm a winner! I'm a winner! Woo! I'm a winner! I'm a winner! Woo! And you can be a winner too!
Don't miss your chance to be our next big winner at the Birmingham Racecourse Casino.
Oh, welcome to the Legend Cave. Oh, George Ramsey right there, Monty Bauer's grandson with the great pass. Hit me right in the heart, baby. Hey, you know what time it is. I'm the legend from the Paul Feinbaum Show. And here in the Legend Cave, we've seen Ronnie Van Zant, Tupac, Taylor Hicks, brother. You don't never know who's going to show up here in the Legend Cave. Let me tell you a few things about Alabama. I got a little special guest coming in today. But let me tell you a few things you need to know. First of all, LeBaron Fallard is back at the University of Alabama. He declared that he's not going to the NBA, that he's coming back to the University of Alabama. I think this makes this Alabama basketball team a top 10 team in the nation. I believe that State Oates is doing a tremendous job down there. Now let's talk about the heart and the soul of the Legend K. Bear testify. We talking about Alabama football, ladies and gentlemen. We are 76 days away. Count them, ladies and gentlemen. 76 days away, ladies and gentlemen, before we kick it off. And today I'm going to bring in a special guest, a young man known all over the nation for his football knowledge. Monty Bauer is proud. It's his grandson. Come on in. Tell folks who you are.
I'm Sam Ramsey.
Speak up.
I'm Sam Ramsey, and
Yeah. Tell them how old you are.
I'm 12 years old, and I turned 13 in a week, and yeah.
Sam. Now, Sam is known for his football knowledge. He knows more about Alabama football than anybody in the nation other than the Legend. And I'm telling you something, the young man he's good. Y'all listen up. Tell him about Ty Simpson this year. Tell him what you told me earlier today.
About Ty Simpson, I think Alabama's quarterback room is not the biggest strength on the team.
What?
We have a good running back core, a great defense, and a great wide receiver room. So, and also a great O-line to help out.
What do you think of the coach? I've been critical of him. What do you think?
I think Kalen DeBoer is a great coach.
Oh, Lord, huh? What have you been teaching this boy, Monty Bauer? What have you been teaching? Go on and preach to the Legend. Help me out. Bring me out of the darkness into the light.
I think he just needed some time to get used to the SEC, and next year he'll be
Don't
ready.
run away from me. You're running away from the mic. Come on back. I ain't going to hurt you now, son. I ain't going to hurt you. We family. We Alabama. So you think that Kalen DeBoer is the man?
Yep.
Man, I'll tell you what. I'm going to take your word for it now. If this don't work out now, man, you're going to have another conversation now, because I don't think I'm going to take Sam's word for it. You said about that defense. What do you like about that defense?
We got Deontay Lawson coming back.
Listen.
We got Domani Jackson.
Listen.
And we just got a new guy in Cam Calhoun in
Woo.
the DB room, and we also have a great D line with LT Overton, Tim Keenan, and
What do you think of James Smith?
oh, he's gonna be good next year. I think we're gonna have probably the best defense in the country.
Man, Sam is bringing it. Sam, you get out of here and go on. You enjoy your Saturday. I tell you what, Monty Bauer has taught that young man right there. Y'all hear that? That might be the future coach at the University of Alabama. Right there, ladies and gentlemen, Sam Ramsey. I'll run you off the board if you don't make the playoffs. Sam, be the man down there next year if you're not careful. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, and listen close. We are now just 10 weeks away from kickoff. I've been hearing all this talk, all this chatter, but I look today, Alabama fans. Let's just sink down in the heart. I look today, and Las Vegas says that Alabama has the fourth best odds. I can count, that's 5. Fourth best odds, ladies and gentlemen, in the nation to make the playoffs next year. Only Texas, Ohio State, and Georgia has better odds to make the playoffs than Alabama. We are loaded on defense. We are loaded at the skill positions. We are counting that Ty Simpson is going to come alive and do what an Alabama quarterback's supposed to do. I'm about to get happy there. 10 weeks away. Come out today to the Birmingham Race Course. We're having a party at 2 o'clock, celebrating the horse race today. Come out and meet the Legend at 2 o'clock at the Birmingham Racetrack. Remember, it's just a game. Don't be like Alabama fans. Plum Sports and Sing.
Keefer, Kip, Kai, Curry, those are the 4 Ks when we do our K4 wins. We'll talk about that in just a second. Kai Gregory, of course, the owner of the Southern Precision Staffing, SPS. They do fantastic work, man. If you're looking for any type of skill work, if you're a skilled worker looking for work yourself, if you're like into whatever you do, whatever you building contraction work, whatever it is, man, that's a fantastic business. 205-682-2828, 205-682-2828, where your word and your handshake still means something. They're right here in Hoover, Alabama, like this show is, but we're all over the world, so check out Southern Precision Staffing. Also, the Woodhouse Day Spa, one of my favorite places. I promise you I will get you. We've tried to get Kip an actual back rub on the show, but ABC 3340 wouldn't let it happen. I don't know why. Man.
Well, they don't want to discourage viewership.
No, I am thinking at 10:30 in the morning that may be a good thing for the show. Check out Woodhouse.
Not Kip Keefer without his shirt on. No.
Birmingham.woodhousespas.com. Birmingham.woodhousespas.com. They do fantastic work, and also a brand new sponsor called Cricket Carts Direct. They're going to be joining us a little bit later on this summer. But 4K Wins doing pretty well, my son. We're doing all right.
4K Wins. Here's the reason why. If you're a sports investor, you got to be on board. On the show 2 weeks ago, before the SEC teams embarked on the NCAA tournament, Case Keefer told us from Las Vegas that the top 2 seeds in that tournament, which were Vanderbilt and Texas, were going nowhere. He said, these are not teams that you have to consider. I don't think they'll make it through the first weekend. Anybody else looking at that probably would have said that's insane. They're playing at home. They lost in their own regionals and Texas lost to University of Texas San Antonio. They're out. Case Keefer told you that was going to happen. That's the kind of information you get on our show, K4 Wins, that you don't get anywhere else. Not the national prognosticators, not the big networks, nowhere. It's on K4 Wins.
And that's what I love. When you're talking about K4 Wins, what Case does really good, he's just a great futures guy. I know a lot of people don't like futures because you don't get your money right away.
Yeah, that's right.
But you know what?
It's an investment.
I want it, yeah, exactly. I want my money. This is not a penny stock show. If you want to make money over a long period of time and hit about 66, 67% every single weekend, K4 Wins the way to go. It's a free site. You can subscribe to it. You write a bunch of articles in there. Case has got articles in Las Vegas Sun, which is fantastic. So check out K4Wins.com. K4Wins.com. Build up that cash flow now just in time for college football right around the corner.
Hey, it's Case Keefer back again for another edition of the Vegas Heaters. I'm a longtime sports bettor, sports betting writer, and sports editor for Greenspun Media Group, which includes Las Vegas Sun and Las Vegas Weekly. And how about last week on the show? Definitely one of the best in recent memory, probably the best since the Masters. Gave out 3 UFC plays and kind of a change of pace, and I'm pretty sure we would have hit all 3 of them, but right before the main event walkouts, there is a medical emergency fight canceled. I've been covering the sport and now betting it for 15 years. You always tend to see something new, but we hit the other 2, so 2-0, should have been 3-0. We'll take that, and even bigger in NASCAR, we get back on with another outright winner. Ryan Blaney, 9-1, dominates in Nashville. If it isn't broke, why are we going to fix it? So let's go with the same 3 sports this week. I know you might not be super into niche sports like I am as far as betting, but hey, the money spends the same, and a lot of times it spends better when golf and NASCAR and these sports where we're taking big outrights, having a chance to cash them, which we have done at an extremely high clip on the show. We did lose at golf last week, but let's start there this week. I tried to beat Scotty Scheffler at Memorial. He ends up winning by 4 strokes. Egg on my face, what can you do? The guy is just so good, and I'm not looking to go against him too often in these big tournaments, and because of that, I know there's a tournament this week, but I want to talk more about the majors, which has kind of been our lifeblood on the show. We've already locked in Scotty Scheffler at the U.S. Open, but I saw enough last week. I also locked him in for the Open Championship later this summer at Royal Portrush. One of the 4 big major national sports books still has Scotty Scheffler at 5-1 to win the Open Championship. Now, I know the Open Championship's a little more parity usually. There could be a lot of guys that could get into it with their approach games, but I think Scotty Scheffler matches up pretty good with this course. I had to take him at 5-1 to win the Open Championship, my only Open Championship bet so far. Now, of course, months ago, we bet him plus 550 to win the U.S. Open at Oakmont, which is coming up in just 2 weeks. I believe also I had given out on the show Patrick Cantlay at 42-1 and Bryson DeChambeau at 13-1 going into the U.S. Open. I have one more play that I made that's going to top off our U.S. Open card here in a couple weeks after the RBC Canadian Open gets over this week, and that is the guy I can't quit, Tommy Fleetwood at 40-1. Never won on American soil, known as the consummate choker, although he's won a ton in Europe. I just think Oakmont's going to be such a good setup for him. This guy's a grinder that plays the best in courses that tear everyone else apart. Oakmont had the hardest U.S. Open setup ever in 2007. Angel Cabrera, recently released from prison, by the way, ultimately ended up winning at 5 over. And there are reports it's going to be even tougher this year. I really think that's going to help out players like a Cantlay, like a Scheffler, like a Fleetwood. So I built up this portfolio going with that. I just thought 40-1 at the same book where Scheffler's 5-1 in the Open Championship was a little too high. So there are some major thoughts on golf. Let's go to NASCAR and try to hit 2 in a row. We're going up to Michigan Speedway this week, and really that brings a lot of people into the picture. It's kind of a weird track, wide, a lot of different guys can win. We've seen a lot of different cars with speed here, so I think it's okay if you want to take some long shots, dig into the data and see who you come up with. I have bet 3 outrights, much like last week, going into this race, and I'm going to completely contradict everything I just said with the first one because The first guy I bet the favorite. I went with Kyle Larson at 6-1. Now, why would I bet the favorite in a race that I say is wide open? Well, seeing Kyle Larson at 6-1 on an intermediate track is just kind of mind-blowing. If you go back just 2 weeks ago, he'd won on almost every intermediate, had by far the most speed. The closest track that we can compare Michigan to is Kansas, where he led the whole way and won. Now he's had a couple bad races. Charlotte, after that whole Indy 500 crash, crazy day. He didn't do great. And then Nashville, he complained about his car all week, still didn't wound up at the top 10. So he has 2 kind of off weeks where he still wasn't even that bad. And all of a sudden we've seen him at an intermediate track go from where he's going off like 3-1 or plus 350 to 6-1. I just have to buy on that a little bit. So Kyle Larson at 6-1. Now the 2 longer shots I did go with to kind of fit with what I was saying initially. A Kyle Larson teammate, first of all, Chase Elliott, 20-1, who's never really been the same coming off of his injury, I think from snowboarding a couple of years ago, as weird as it is. Not a doctor, can't say why that leg injury hasn't been the same, but he was super fast at Michigan last year. I do think at some point he's going to regain his form. I just think 20-1 is too high. You know, with Hendrick Motorsports, they're probably going to have the most speed here, so 20-1 on him. One guy that's not in as good of equipment, but no one is going to ever argue with his legacy, one of the best drivers we've ever seen. Kyle Busch at 40-1 is the final guy I bet. Again, I think a lot of people are in the running in Michigan, and he's had the speed to win this race in the past. So we will go with Busch, Larson, and Elliott. Finally, one UFC to sign us off since we did so well last week. And this one might seem a little square, something a lot of people are on, but that doesn't always mean it's going to lose. I think you've got to take the 2-time Olympic gold medalist, judoka champion, Kayla Harrison, fighting for the UFC belt in the first time of her career in the co-main event of UFC 316 against Juliana Pena this week. Not playing her just to win outright. I know she's like minus 600, but getting her by finish. So she's going to have 5 rounds to put Juliana Pena out of there. I think that's going to happen. Minus 135, way too cheap for me. So Kayla Harrison inside the distance at UFC 316. There's our 3 niche sports. Thanks for checking out another edition of the Vegas Heaters.
It was just a couple years ago. You were actually doing a show, and you invited me to come on that TV show, and it was called The Triple Crown, and it was through the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, and of course it was all about the horse racing. It was right there in the middle of the 3 race stretch, if you will. Kind of a strange year this year because Pimlico, of course, is done. Belmont being resurfaced, if you will. So that race is going to be at Saratoga going on later on this afternoon. It looks like we got 2 really, really strong horses that are going to be battling each other like they did in the Derby later on today. But we do want to find some dark horses, literally dark horses, some horses that can give us a little pay.
So you don't want the gray horse. You want the dark
we don't want the dairy. We want
You don't want the white one, White Albario. He
We're
runs
looking
earlier.
for a horse that's got the big fat dapples on it. It's having a hard time getting in the cage. We want to get after it.
Yeah.
And of course, we got the man right here who's going to give us a long shot in just a few minutes. Monty Ballard. He is a man who knows horse racing as well as anybody.
I'm going to try. I'm going to try.
He's a Louisville product. He got horse racing in his DNA.
Yeah, we've been picking them. We've been picking them great.
So fantastic. The first 2 legs.
Yeah.
So normally when you're looking at a horse, you do look at his past experiences.
Yeah, his past performance, how he's done it.
And you said right before you sat down, I'm going long shot. Give me a long shot and why.
I really like journalism.
Okay.
Because if you saw his race at the Preakness, he got into big trouble, as everybody knows, and he got bumped around. When he gets out of the trouble, there's a horse that's, I think it was your long shot pick.
Yep, Gosker.
Gosker, who was probably
5 lengths ahead.
5 lengths ahead of him, heading toward
With
the finish
100
line.
yards to go.
Right, 100 yards to go, and journalism just comes. He was eating up track the way Joey Chestnut eats hot dogs.
Yep.
I mean, boom.
And
he
if
was
you look,
going.
Umberto Rispoli, his jockey, didn't even touch him the last 40 yards of the
Didn't have
race
to.
because he knew he had the horse measured in front of him.
Did not have
So I have to go continue with journalism to be my play of the day.
Okay, but you said
But
you
I
have
do have a long
shot.
shot. I like Baeza to come in second.
Okay.
I'm not so. I'm going to have to fade Sovereignty a little bit because it's a little bit shorter race.
Okay.
And I like a horse called Crudo. That's a Todd Pletcher horse.
Number 5.
Yeah, and so I'm going to go with Journalism, Baeza, and Crudo for my long shot pick.
All right.
Now,
Kip.
Crudo's fast. He'll get out on the lead,
Yeah,
too,
he has a
with
lot of
Rodriguez.
And again, this race is not a mile and a half. It's the same length as
It's
the
a mile
Kentucky
and-
Derby. So that's something to think about because a lot of
Mile
them,
and a
they
quarter.
always say it's kind of strange because the Belmont, traditionally, obviously the last race, but it's always the longest race. And some people always thought maybe that should not be the last race they run. But who do you like, Kip?
Yeah, you guys just hit the big point right there. If this was at Belmont, if the track was ready to go,
Yeah, who'd you like?
and it was a mile and a half, I think Sovereignty would be the absolute logical play because Sovereignty is a horse that's going to do all of his best running at the end. Journalism did that in the Preakness,
They did.
but it was maybe a little bit of an aberration because, I mean, he's got that kind of ability, but he's more of a middle mover. He's got more tactical speed than Sovereignty, so he'll be closer to the pace here. And the 1.25 miles really kind of makes this an even matchup. I still like him Sovereignty rolling at the end. I like Journalism. I like Sovereignty's rider, Junior Alvarado, tactically a little bit better than Umberto Rispoli, who almost, let's just face the facts, almost got by far the best horse in the Preakness beat. But with his tactics in the Preakness, he dove down inside, he got trapped. A lot of stewards who are the people who judge races around the country have said, well, I would have disqualified Journalism for pushing those horses out of the way for him to come barreling down the stretch. But that just goes to show you, everybody in the world is going to just think, this is Journalism and Sovereignty 2-horse race, and on paper it is. But they don't run these races on paper.
No.
Horses can get in trouble, jockeys can make tactical mistakes, horses can just not be on their game that particular day. You have to look from a value standpoint, and I'm right along with Monty here. I really don't like to play cold numbers like 2 7s, ice cold exactas, or 7 2s. Everybody's going to figure it's going to be those 2 1 2. But there are some guys in this race, like Crudo, Monty mentioned the 5, who's got speed. Also, number 2, Rodriguez, who we were both high on going to the Kentucky Derby. A horse that the last time we saw him in the Wood Memorial at Aqueduct earlier in the year, a prep race for the Derby, he went to the lead at 1 1/8 and led every step in the way, never even thought about looking back.
No.
Some horses, Monty, you'll agree with me, some horses, when they get on the lead, get brave and emboldened
They keep
and
going.
don't come back.
No, they keep going, and that's what Rodriguez did.
Yeah,
he
so
ended up winning that race
I
by
wouldn't
5
be a bit
lengths.
surprised to see Rodriguez still be the leader as they roll into the stretch for this race, and he's going to just dare Journalism and Sovereignty to come get him, and I'm not so sure that both of them are going to be able to do that. I like both of them to hit the board. I'm not going to play them 1-2 because from a value standpoint, you're not going to get anything back if they run 1-2. So I think either Rodriguez or Crudo, who Monty mentioned, or even Hill Street for Chad Brown, the one horse, who does have some kick too, and Baeza, who a lot of folks will argue almost beat Journalism in the Derby right at the wire.
He was flying. He came flying.
And he's getting the number 6 horse. So there are some horses that can split those two. I think playing them, you'll see my pick here on the screen. I think playing 2 and 7, that's Journalism and Sovereignty first. Play those horses we just mentioned second, and then playing Sovereignty and Journalism in the third spot. Try to get somebody to split those two, and I think you're on the right track.
That's the way it usually runs in the Belmont. Somebody does come up and split them.
Got about 30 seconds here. If you're looking for a great place to go watch that race, go to the Birmingham Race Course. We have
we're going to be out there so we can meet and greet, and we're going to have a whole crowd out there.
We had the COO of Porch Creek Indians on last week. It was a great show, and he was telling us about all the expansions and all the wonderful things they're going to do at the Birmingham Race Course and out there in the ownership seat. So it's going to be fantastic, and what a great place to watch any sporting event. The Birmingham Race Course Casino. Of course, the executive director is sitting to my right. Monty, thank you so much. Go Horses. Until next week, right here at the starting lineup, 10:30, 11 o'clock. Getting ready for college football. Can't get here soon enough. And in the meantime, we're going to make some cash right here on the starting lineup.